it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for December 2022. So on December 29th, we have our very last astro event for December and for 2022, which happens to be a Mercury retrograde. That is right. We are entering into 2023 under the influence of a Mercury retrograde. So let's break it down. First of all, Mercury rules over our mental plane, rules over information, rules over communication, rules over how it is that we communicate and express ourselves. So we are going to run into the normal level of confusion, the normal level of reflection that we have to do, because Mercury, of course, when going retrograde, pauses life, gives us a chance to look back, to kind of reflect, to redo a couple of things, revise a couple of things, to re-edit ourselves, our goals. We have a chance to realign, to recalibrate, to rest, to rejuvenate. That's right. All of those RE words come up with a Mercury retrograde. So what's different about this retrograde? Well, it's in Capricorn energy, and Capricorn energy is an earth energy. It's low, it's slow, it's ready to change its mind and change its path and change the direction when presented with a good enough reason to do so. And because it is a little bit karmic in nature, we have a little bit of I'm going to say divinely scripted reflection coming at us, because right now, a lot of the answers that we are seeking as far as where we're going, what our path is, what our direction is, what our purpose, what our mission is, a lot of those answers are found by looking back. Of course, Mercury retrograde is going to have us looking back. Capricorn energy in its totality, typically speaking, the first part of Capricorn season is about reflecting back, reviewing, kind of, taking the time to see how it is that we got here, to see what it is that we got kind of side railed with, what got pushed aside, what we didn't get to accomplish. And halfway through normal, typical Capricorn energy, then we kind of shift gears. We start looking forward instead of looking back. Having Mercury kind of go retrograde in Capricorn is going to add an extra layer of reflection, of reviewing, of revising, re-editing, because Capricorn energy does not mess around. Very much the boss energy of the zodiac. And of course, we have to boss up and get our focus straight. What are we focused on? Well, we should be focused on our goals. We should be focused on, setting new goalposts for ourselves. We are thinking long term as far as what it is that we want to experience, what it is that we want to accomplish. This Capricorn energy can bring in a little bit of a negative narrative. We tend to really align with Negative Nancy and Debbie Downer and Betty the Bully, all of those mean girls, if you will. And with Mercury going retrograde, it is likely that we're going to be looking back with a little bit of a pessimistic attitude. Even looking forward is likely going to bring the cautiously aware side of our paranoia to the forefront. And we're going to have to work very hard to not kind of get sucked into that funk. Now, we are going to be entering into 2023 on a little bit of a slower pace because, of course, Mercury going retrograde is going to pump the brakes. We have a lot of looking back to do before we can go ahead and get started moving forward. But we also have to consider the fact that Mars is also retrograde, has been retrograde since October, and that is actually pumping the brakes as well. Now, not that I want to get too ahead of myself here. We'll cover this in the 2023 forecast and January's energy forecast, but Mercury and Mars come out of their retrogrades in a very timely fashion, very close to one another. And let me just say that although we come into the brand new year a little bit slower, a little bit, I'm going to say, lower in vibration and in attitude than we would like, when we have Mercury and Mars shift out of their retrogrades and move into a direct situation, you best believes that we are going to feel that dramatic shift. That is going to give us a very small but very advantageous opportunity to make up for quote unquote lost time. And I say that because no time is lost. We are exactly where it is that we need to be. You are exactly in the point of your path and your healing journey that you need to be. There is a certain amount of reflection needed before we can go ahead and start pushing our energy, exerting ourselves outward once again, in order to actually blaze a brand new path for ourselves. And that's exactly what we should be focused on. Now, keep in mind, we're moving into a brand new year. We are shifting particular life lessons. We do not have the support of the universe to go ahead and jump ahead and start initiating new things and bringing new things to life. That will come in the latter parts of January. And of course, keep in mind that coming into a brand new year is actually the last quarter of our zodiac calendar, which means that we should be wrapping things up. We should be tying up loose ends. We should be bringing some projects, some topics, some themes, some soul contracts to a sense of completion. Our new year, our starting point, our initiation and beginning point will come with Aries season in the spring when we jump into a brand new astrological calendar. Right now, we have a very, very long list of things to do. Right? We have a lot of things changing, new roles, new responsibilities, new commitments, new obligations, very much Capricorn topic and themes. But before we can go ahead with the new, we have to tie up the loose ends of the old. And Mercury going retrograde is definitely going to have us focused on the past, focus on what it is that we've outgrown, focused on what needs to end, focus on what needs to be brought full circle and cleared away before we can go ahead and have a clean slate, a brand new foundation to start bringing new ideas to life. Speaking of ideas, as you may know, and again, if you feel the need to reflect back and refresh yourself, Mercury, being the ruler of the mental plane, being ruler of information and communication in Capricorn energy, which is the great manifesting energy of the zodiac, we have to understand that even with Mercury being retrograde, we still have a huge, huge opportunity, a huge amount of potential to focus in, to review, to revise on what it is that we want to bring to life. There's still a lot of power there. Mercury going retrograde, all that does is internalize the energy. We might not be so active in our external realms, bringing things to life, initiating new things, talking about new topics and themes, bringing new ideas to life, but there's a lot going on in our inner realm. That's where the power is with Mercury being retrograde. We're going to have a lot of aha moments. We're going to have a lot of epiphanies. We're going to have a totally different perspective and understanding on some situations that have popped off, especially over the last year. And we're going to bring that full circle, accept it, acknowledge it, integrate it, make peace with it before we can shift gears and actually start doing things in our external realms once again. So be very cautiously aware of your thoughts, of your attitude, of what it is that you're focused on what it is that you're actually speaking into existence. Regardless of whether Mercury is retrograde or direct, being in Capricorn energy brings a certain amount of manifesting power, a certain amount of acceleration when it comes to bringing some things to life. And we still have to be super careful about what we focus on and what we speak on, especially while Mercury is retrograde, because again, we tend to adopt the negative Nancy, the Debbie Downer type of perspective and attitude, and we definitely do not want to anchor in those vibrations and frequencies and manifest those particular thoughts, ideas, emotions, topics, and themes. So this is a test of our mental power, our mental control, if you will. Also a test on our mouths and the control, the discipline that we have to have in order to make sure that we're not speaking out of turn, that we're not, speaking a lot of negativity into existence. We are very deliberate when Mercury is in Capricorn with our words. We really don't want to kind of waste time or energy speaking on things that don't matter or won't directly influence our long-term goals. So we have to be very cautiously aware on how this energy is going to manifest. Of course, like I said, we should never never shy away. We should never be scared of a retrograde, but it is a time for us to kind of move inward. Keep the analogy that when the planets start going retrograde, when they slow down, it's almost as if they're drugged, right? It's almost as if they're falling asleep. And then once they're actually retrograde, they're unconscious. And there's a whole world going on inside of us when we're unconscious. Think of when you're having a good time, you have a couple of drinks, you have, some kind of other substances in your system, or even just think of a dream state. Like anything is possible when you're in that unconscious realm of thought. And, we may not be able to put it in words when we come out of this unconscious state of being. However, there's a knowing. It's almost like we gain perspective and information that we wouldn't have otherwise received if we were bright, bushy-tailed, sober, clean, and consciously aware. So just think of these planets, kind of being drugged, kind of falling asleep, having a huge experience, a huge amount of aha moments and epiphanies while retrograde. And then when they come out of their retrograde, they wake up. Their drugs, their alcohol, their sleep, their slumber is wearing off. And suddenly we have to piece together what just happened and what we can pull from our unconscious state into our conscious awareness in this present moment and really run with a lot of those thoughts, a lot of those ideas, a lot of that perspective, a lot of that understanding. So with that being said, there may be a lot of conflict that comes up in our inner realm while Mercury is retrograde, especially around topics and themes about our direction, our purpose, our roles, our responsibility. There may be some communication errors, some misunderstandings, some difficult conversations that we may need to navigate with people of authority. So that could be parents, that could be bosses, that could be co-workers, if you will. We're just kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty on what needs to be done, what needs to be wrapped up so that we can go ahead and start building towards something new when, of course, we enter into 2023 and we have Mercury and Mars both come out of their retrogrades and go direct. So there's definitely going to be a lot to think about, and there's definitely going to be a lot of serious topics and themes to think about and to navigate and to sort out in our inner realm. And there's definitely going to be a heavy weight in our thought processes, in our attitude. And of course, it's up to us to be able to nip that in the bud, to recognize where it is that, the mean girls are actually winning here and where we have to boss up and take control and exercise a little bit more practice and discipline in being able to control our thoughts, control our energy, and control our attitude.